We're here today with Tony Newman in Cairns for our Member Monday interview and to get some insights into your building company, what's working well in it, and just want to say welcome, Tony.
Thanks, Marty.
All right, my man, good to have you. Could you share a little bit about your company, type of work that you do, give people some insight into the structure of your business and
Yeah, look, I'm a Kiwi originally from Whangarei, moved over to Cairns Australia 10 years ago now and re-established and set up a new building company over here. We've also established a furniture and homeware store, plus I've got a mobile cabin hire business that I operate and run as well. With our building business, we employ 4 carpenters, including myself, and 1 apprentice. And we specialise in mainly large-scale renovations and extensions and custom new build homes, and tailoring our homes more towards the second or third time builder or someone wanting to build their forever home and try not to do the first home market.
Awesome. And why is that? Why did you choose that?
Look, I find it's a very competitive market here in Cairns. There's a lot of builders I find in Cairns, and so many of them do specialise in that first home, lower price bracket, and it's just too competitive, and I don't think the margins are there. So we want to do more specialised stuff where we sort of feel there's a higher return.
And what's the average size of those larger projects in the second and third renos?
Look, the renos, they're easily, they're all sort of 150 through to probably 300,000 in the renovation extension sort of size projects we take on. And new builds, probably, anything from sort of 400,000 upwards. We've done nothing over the $1 million mark purely because I feel that the construction costs here in Cairns are a little bit cheaper than I think what you find back in New Zealand. So we did an $860,000 build last year. That's probably been our biggest, and that was all custom. It was all timber floors, all carpentry work, hand pitched roofs, and so there was a lot of work in it for us, and that's the style of construction we want to target. Yeah,
the interesting thing with that is when you say yes to bigger projects like that, and it might tie up maybe 2 of your crews or one crew for longer. What's the opportunity cost of other jobs coming along that might be?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, it's a good way, and if you do strike a bad plan, I guess you're not locked in for too long doing a $2 million project where you could be on that job for 2 years or whatever. So look, it's good to if we ideally would like to probably turn over 5 or 6 houses around the 500,000 to 600,000 a year, and we'd be happy with that. So we don't want to be a mass scale group housing company trying to turn over 30 new homes a year.
So what made you want to migrate from the north of New Zealand, Whangarei, to the north of Australia, Cairns?
Something called a wife. Met my partner and wife 25 years ago when we were doing our OE living over in London. And then we came back via Cairns here for a couple of years. We then moved back to New Zealand, Whangarei, for 10 years. And we've been back in her part of the world for 10 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And the plans to stay there, or what's the master plan?
Look, I've always got plans to relocate back home at some stage. I like the lifestyle back home, and I like the type of building and work we do back home. So ultimately, one day, I think we'd move back.
Awesome.
But for now, with what's going on here, it takes a little while to re-establish when you do move.
Yeah.
And I found coming to a new town to reset up again was quite hard at the start because I didn't know anyone. You have to make all those new connections, and just to get the word of mouth out in town that you're doing good work takes a little while as well.
100%.
So look, it's kicking in now after 10 years. We've sort of built that reputation now, and in some ways it would be a shame to leave after all the hard work we've put in.
Yeah, for sure. Like a lot of people give up just before they're at the line, and they've laid the foundations.
So I think for us, with one of the reasons for joining TPB was to try and set some better structures and systems in place, so it would free my time up to maybe get some more time to be able to travel back home and visit friends and family back home. It's one of the priorities on my list to try and systemise things so I can get help to run the show when I'm not here.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Building a business that has systems and processes, and you train and hire the
Yeah.
team to be able to run those so that you can actually work on it rather than in it. You're tied to it all the time.
Yeah.
What's helped the most towards that goal? What systems?
Oh, look, I would say, see, I've left school at 15, went straight into a building carpentry apprenticeship, and I've never done anything different. So I'm, all for the site works. I'm a carpenter at heart, and that's where I know what I'm doing. For the last 2 years, I've stepped off the tools and I've gone into the office. So that's where I've had my biggest struggles because, when you're on site, everything there seems easy to me. And I used to run all the projects from site, manage the staff, the carpenters on site, which seemed very easy at the time. So now I've moved off the tools, and in the office, it was like, oh my God, how do I control it? How do I see what the guys are doing on site each day? How do I monitor the workflow and the quality? So, yeah, I guess that's been the learnings, and the reason I really joined you guys was to learn these systems and processes to be able to manage the office side of the business and to know that the work's still getting done right on site.
Cool. And what's helped the most there? If you were to, because what we're trying to do is get insights from what's worked really well for you, and then dig a bit deeper into that. And if we can share that, and someone else might be having that challenge at the moment, that's going to help massively give them confidence and put in.
I guess just bringing my carpenters into the office initially before we start a job. Normally we would just, go to site on the very first day. They would have minimal information on the job, and particularly the scope of works. Mm-hmm. It's a lot easier on new build. That's one reason we're looking to push that way. But predominantly we've been doing a lot of renovation work, and with reno work, it was just so open-ended to what I had quoted for, I guess, and to what the carpenters on site knew was in the quote and what wasn't. So that's been a real big one there, just systemizing and mapping out and giving them the information based around scope of works, what's included, what's not, what's potentially going to be a variation. So that's been a big one there for our reno work.
How long is that process? Because I know some of our members will take 3 to 4 hours to walk their foreman through it. Do you walk the whole team through the inclusions, exclusions, scope of works?
Not the whole team, no. I just sort of bring my leading hand foreman in, sort of a week prior, I guess, or longer if I can, 2 weeks prior, give them all the documentation around everything, have a good chat to him, and spend at least half a day just with him looking through all the information first, and he can come back to me with questions, just so it preps them for when they do get on site. We've got onboarding processes and stuff now with the clients that we run through, expectations for what's going to happen on site. And
awesome.
I find a big one, we used to have a lot of trouble with it, especially on the reno work, was your client is living on the building site and in amongst the work at some stages. So it's a matter of trying to educate the client too. You're going to be seeing stuff halfway through construction, not in a finished state, work in progress. So, don't get freaked out. I mean, I was getting calls and contacted all hours of the night. Oh, what's happening with this and why does that look like that? Well, we try to head off a lot of that now and sort of put them at ease from the start and pre-educate them around the whole construction process to try and eliminate a lot of that worry, I guess, for the clients, because they see a lot of the background stuff that happens before they see the final finished product on handover day.
So what do you do particularly or specifically that you do to educate them? Is there a pre-site, like a pre-construction info pack that they get? Is there here's the team members that you'll be dealing with? We'll have a meeting once a week. You'll be able to see things through the project management software, or?
Yep, that's right. So we had that initial startup meeting, and then we've got an onboarding form. So that's when they get to sit down with myself and my team that's going to be working on the job. So it's my team, myself, and the client. We all had that first startup meeting.
When does that occur? Because some of our members are doing some great things.
Yep.
Shifting that back into the sales process.
Right.
And doing that at the stage before they actually present the action plan or the quote. They're saying, great, this is the foreman, Bob. Bob's going to be on site with you. This is John, our project manager. John's the guy that you deal with regards, if you need fixtures changed or changed to the timeline. This is Mary. She's going to be taking photos coming out because we want you to be a showcase renovation for our website, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And I'm Tony, the owner. Hey, I'll be there in the background. If you need me, I'm always available, but you'll see me, once a week for 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, look, I guess I'm talking to potential clients about all that and showing them that in our sort of well pack and what have you. But they're not actually physically meeting the team, I guess, until we've actually won the job and we take them there, basically on that first day of getting on site. But I'm certainly talking that sort of stuff with them and showing them our team and our systems and processes and our paperwork as part of the sales process. So I think that's really helped too. And just having photos of your team and stuff, that's on our website now as well, so they can sort of see who they're going to be dealing with. And, I'd say to them, this is my guy, Sam, or, whoever it may be, Daniel, that could be the one that's be leading your project if we won the job. So they sort of, starting to see and think about who's coming on site.
Yeah, it future paces them. They future pace this person being in my home, talking to them each week. Yeah, and they seem like a good, smart, motivated dude. Your company's got the right systems, and it helps.
Definitely.
Okay. Do your foreman help forecast the labour hours on the project?
Look, that's one of the things I've learned from TPB. I never used to. No, I used to just break it all down myself. And having the carpentry background, I've been reasonably accurate with that. But when you are doing that from an office environment, I do find that you seem to calculate hours. That seems like it's going to go a lot smoother when you're looking at it in an office environment compared to actually on site. So, I'm doing that with my guys now. I'm bringing them in, letting them spend half a day with me.
Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
And that's helping. That's certainly helping. And then it's sort of getting them prepped too for when if we do win that job. They've had an involvement in working out those hours. So when we give them the breakdown of the hours as we've discussed for them to go forward on the job, then, they feel a bit more involved with it all, and they know that, shit, I was part of organising this and that's the hours I said we better get it done those hours, So
yeah, 100%. In terms of buy-in, commitment, ownership of the job, because they're going to be 80% of the success of bringing it in on time.
That's right. Yeah, but I think that's that ownership thing too, and it involves them and it brings them into the office a bit more too. So it's not just them out there and me in the office. So it's that interaction.
Yeah,
in the office as well.
We're helping raise their level of visibility and accountability in terms of how do I read plans?
Yep.
How do I actually control the job and the labour hours?
Yes.
And it's a good way to triangulate and double check your hours, because you go, well, for the exterior cladding, I've only 85 hours. Why have you got 110?
That's right. Yeah. Yep. And look, what I do too, I've already sort of gone over the hours a bit myself, and I've got my breakdown on it all sort of before I bring my foreman in now. So I've already sort of looked at it myself, so I'm not just going blind into it with him at the time. And then we can compare. So it's good to have, a couple of different looks at it to say, well, you had that many, I've got this many, why is that, do you think? And we can then, sort of
that
medium, I guess.
Just that itself, that process itself,
yeah,
will make a massive difference to ownership and also how close to the target labour hours you get.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of the biggest areas to worry about where you can make or break on jobs is your labour, really. That and your materials, on how accurately you break down your materials.
And how close are you getting now on jobs to your target labour hours?
We're pretty accurate. Like, there's not many jobs where we've been burnt at all. I sort of always have sort of believed that I have always quoted quite accurately.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've never really lost out in a major way. And then, if there's been any variations, you obviously try and claw a little bit back any variations that may crop up.
Well, that's the thing. If you're controlling it in real time each week and you're in your toolbox meeting and you're saying, hey, we're at 500 hours, we're halfway through the project. We're at 620 hours, but we're only 50% of the way through a 1,000-hour project. Hey, we've got to pull back 120 hours over the next.
And look, there's always areas where, you do go over your allowance on a few areas, but then you make it up in others. So, you're tracking that as you go through and, keeping a mental note, hey, we need to make up some here. Then you find you have a win somewhere else in the job. And generally, by the time you get to the end of that, it's come out pretty good. But it helps just monitoring it too, because then the guys know if they're getting behind, then they've got to up their game a little bit. And when we never used to do this, and never used to track it, it was just kind of hope for the best and get to the end and see how you went. But now that we're tracking it more regular, then the guys do lift. I can see them, lift their game to speed things up a bit to try and make that time back for us. So,
what difference has it made for A, the team, and then B, your clarity and confidence on where the job's at and how it's going?
Oh, look, it's certainly a big one for me, just having more of that interaction with the guys on site, because I used to worry so much that I was away from the jobs. I wasn't seeing everything because I was a bit of a control nut on the quality side of things and had sort of, how I wanted to get it done my way sort of thing. So now with our co-construct project management system we use as well, that's one of the biggest improvements I've found there, just with me being able to look and see what's happened on site, because we do daily job logs there every single day. So I get a report, the client gets to see that as well. And then also the guys took a little bit of training because I get slack at it, but daily photos uploaded to the jobs. And they were struggling because they were always trying to do that at the end of the day, like when they were rushing to get something finished for the day and then packing up and obviously focused on going home. So I said, well, why don't you do that reporting to me straight after lunch? You've been sitting down for lunch. Before you get up and get your tool belt on and start going again, do that then, so do it at midday. So there's no excuse for running out of time at the end of the day. So that's been working well.
Brilliant.
So that's when they do the daily job logs and send the photos through. And you wouldn't believe for what you can see from a photo. That's where I hit a lot of potential problems off.
So do you set, I want key photos of this, and this, or how do you?
Look, the photos are pretty much what they've been working on for the last day, pretty much. Just showing the work that's been completed. There is specific stuff around some tricky detailing type stuff, and obviously when I'm getting communications back from what do we do here and there, then the photos come in, so we can or a video or what have you, it could be as well. So. Just saves me having to go around the site so much, because I used to pretty much go to site every day. And then I was finding, geez, you get caught up on site, and I wouldn't get back to the office until sort of 11, 12 o'clock. And so I thought, hey, I've got to change something here. I've got to, can't be on site every day. I still have my site meetings structured now to once a week. So that's really helped with the photos.
Awesome. So you're meeting once a week with the client. Do you do your foreman's meeting prior to the client's site meeting, or do you have it at a set?
Yep. I catch up with my foreman on a Tuesday morning, so not on a Monday. We found Mondays were a bit of a busier day after a weekend, and we found that was a bit of a struggle, and a few appointments weren't getting held, so we changed it to a Tuesday morning. So that works better. So I catch up with the foreman on the Tuesday, and generally client on-site meetings on a Friday.
Awesome. And any other tips that you've got on managing the job from either the client side or from your team side? That's working really well.
I think if other builders out there haven't got any project management software, we never used to have it for a long time, and that's just been massive for us, because it's it gets your team on in the same system, myself, the client, and all the sub trades. With the system we use, we're all in on the same job at the same time with the same information, and that's just headed a heap of problems off, and there's no excuse for someone not getting it right now, because all the information is provided. If there's any changes to the scope, there's regular updates there, and individual trades will get their notification there's been a change that relates to them. And one client we've actually got at the moment lives miles away in another city, so we're building for her, and she just sends messages all the time. She just feels like she's in the same town watching a job get built. It's just like being there. And so it helps with anyone that's building for someone that's not in the same town, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's quite a game changer.
Yeah, and it saves all the phone calls from the boys too, because obviously they've got iPads on site, they can get into the job. I can put messages up for them in the system, and it just saves a lot of phone calls.
Awesome.
Yeah, it saves my time in the office, and can focus on other stuff.
Who do you have helping you in the office, Tony?
Look, it's pretty much only me, myself. My wife she does help out. She's got another full-time job working for a civil construction company herself, but she does help me with, she pays the wages, she does all the GST and VAS statements and what have you. So she helps out there. I pretty much do everything else. So, I sort of probably have taken on a lot, and being new to the office side of it, has kind of been a bit of a struggle at times, but yeah.
Are you who's your next hire going to be?
I think it would be someone that could just come in, even if it was for like an office admin lady, I would think, just to come in for a couple of days a week.
Yep.
Just to take some of that off me. Like I'm still, some days can spend half a day just doing invoicing, so I'm sort of still trying to do the sales and marketing, meeting new potential clients, looking after our existing clients, running the boys, ordering the materials, invoicing.
Yeah, it's a lot. It'll be a game changer for you getting that office.
Yeah. And another one I've just found, we've just started doing some digital marketing, and actually when you start getting leads coming in, that takes quite a bit of your time too to pre-qualify. And then you start some backwards and forward communication there. You can get tied up spending hours a day on that. So, and there
Good
again,
to have though, keeping that pipeline full.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. But I find, we've maybe got to get a little bit more specific around our advertising, just to try and hone in more on that ideal client, because I feel we're getting too much inquiry now that aren't the right type of lead. So, probably 50% of what I'm pre-qualifying is probably not our ideal, probably more than that actually.
It's good if you've got those criteria and you can identify that earlier in the process through your questionnaire, and not disqualify the tire kickers or people who aren't a good fit.
Yep, definitely.
How far out are you booked in advance, and what's your pipeline looking like?
Look, the pipeline's good. Yeah, we've got a couple of new homes that are waiting to start. I've just actually sold a couple of pre-sold some design services, which have been good for new work to be drawn up.
Awesome.
So that's something new that we've learned from TPB, which we're doing now. So that's working really good. I've had 4 jobs go to contract last week.
Bam!
Yeah, so that's awesome. Everyone wants everything at the same time. So some of this work I quoted, 4 to 6 months ago, and literally in the last 2 weeks, they had 4 of these older quotes. They phoned back and said, "Can we start now?" So,
wow, that's awesome. And how big are those jobs, and what margin are they at?
Yeah, look, these 4 that have just come on board, they're not massive jobs. They're all around the 100K mark. There's a master bedroom extension, granny flat, a couple of deck with bigger veranda, and a garage. Yeah. Look, sort of, I guess, gross margin around the 20%, a little bit higher on a couple there.
Awesome. And if we talk about look at the key categories of how's your team going versus before coming on board. What have your hours looked like previously? What do your hours look like now? And then what are you doing revenue-wise versus what you were doing, and what's margin looking like?
Yep. I guess my team, we feel that we're just more engaged as a team, proper team now, working together. Whereas in the past, I just was having, minimal interaction with them, I guess, or not enough, and not supplying them the correct information. So that's, definitely with our systems and processes now, and mapping everything out with them and getting more involvement with them coming in the office and looking at jobs prior and all that. So that's brought the team together. We're a stronger unit there.
Awesome.
I guess revenue and jobs. Look, I looked back just yesterday to see, this current financial year that's just in for us. It's actually been a smaller year in turnover. The year prior, we sort of did about 2.4 million, with a net margin, I guess, of only about 8%. This year that just ended for us, we did 1.7 turnover, and I've got a 12% net profit there. So that's I pay my own wage and everything out of that, obviously. So
awesome.
Yeah, I think we've just learnt to quote higher. Actually, we're charging more these days. So and quoting for everything too. So there's so many little bits and pieces where you could sort of miss. I've got a lot better around that.
And what's given you that confidence to increase that increase your margins, get paid what you're worth, and those variations? Is it systems or a mindset change?
I think mindset change, just building in confidence. Once you get your confidence levels up, you're worth it, sort of thing. Whereas in the past, I used to always quote a job, and the first thing then I'd do is go back and think, geez, this looks too expensive. How can I make it cheap for the people? I can't take them this price. So now I'm confident on that price. I don't even second guess it. I don't even think, Jesus, why is this coming so expensive? I don't see it as being expensive. I see it as being, value for money with the systems and processes we've got in place and the type of company structure we are now. And, hopefully with the sales and marketing is better, and it's built that confidence with the client as well. So, if we do win work, then, I feel that we can justify the price.
100%. And when you look at how good your systems are versus most other building companies that don't have those processes in place, or visibility with the client, attention, detail, labour hours, systems.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when we present a quote, we're taking a 30 to 50 page document to them, and one of the things I always ask, what have you received from your other builders? How much information have they given you? And quite often they say, look, I've got one page with the price on the bottom. So, straight away we can say, well, how can we compare apples for apples? How do you know what you're getting in that price? What's included, what's not? Our proposals are fully transparent as far as the breakdown and the scope of works goes. One thing I have learned, just to put it out there for the other members, in our quotes, I used to probably think, okay, I want to be fully transparent around all the pricing. I used to give everyone the full breakdown of all the costings over the whole job. So it was way too much information around the numbers, and it just opened up way too much backwards and forwarding communication around the pricing. Oh geez, if that guy's going to be that much, maybe I'll supply my own plumber, I can get one cheaper or whatever. So now I still give the full breakdown and all the spec and the scope, but I now only show the final figure. Awesome. And basically that's the price. I don't give them the full breakdown because I just used to find, it was, would out more. If they just see one figure, I think they can deal with that. If they see all the breakdown, they get fixated on one particular pricing, and why is that so expensive just for that? I thought that would be cheaper, So, I think that's helped us as well.
Yeah, that's huge. When you align it with your systems, your information pack, your quality assurance checklist, everything else to give them confidence, because this is the biggest investment in their life.
Definitely. Yep.
And how have you changed as a leader and as a person over the last 12 to 18 months?
Look, I think I've had to probably step up as a leader, because when you're on the site working with the boys, it's you kind of are one of the boys, I guess. Now I've become an office person, I guess. You think the dynamics have probably changed a little bit there, so I've just had to be a bit more professional and detailed in my approach. So, I think that's been the biggest mindset change there, just around leading proper toolbox talks and stuff like that, looking more professional in front of our team members as well, and sub-trades. And that's all come about, with giving proper documentation around, scope of works, quality control, checklists and stuff like that. So, I've had to probably step up in that area.
Awesome. And how's that been received by your sub-trades?
Oh, yeah, really good. Positive. Yep, far better, only in a positive way for sure.
What's the number one thing that you've learnt so far going through the program? What's made the biggest impact on you personally, or the biggest change in mindset in business?
I think just the professionalism that you've got to come across as showing, when you are in business, and around communication as well. I think, that's key, I think, between your staff and your clients. Like, clients want to know as much information around what's happening on site as your trades do, So that's an area I think we've really focused on, is communication.
Awesome. And anything specifically, what like, obviously you've got pre-start before the job starts, how you liaise each week with them with regards to the project management software. What's made a big difference?
Well, I think implementing the project software, management software, that's been the biggest one there because, with that, they do get the daily job log updates, whereas in the past, we've probably let communication slip a little bit where maybe, you're not talking to clients enough, not on a weekly basis sort of thing. And I guess that project management software has really been key there as far as keeping everyone together on the communication. And they get daily reports now, which is, they can't say they're not getting enough communication from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's been the impact on your time and, I guess, peace of mind?
Yeah, look, my time working in the business. I guess in the past we were sort of definitely still working 6, even 7 days. I don't do any work in the weekends now. I'm purely basically just doing office hours. I'll start in the office at 7 in the morning and go to 5, but I'll try and switch off from it outside of those hours. Definitely don't do anything in the weekends anymore.
Awesome.
So that's been great there, and just gives you that bit of a break from it as well. Otherwise, you're just so tied up and invested in, your mind never switches off.
Yeah.
So when you do have those set times when you step away, I try to step right away from it, so I'm not thinking too much about work.
100%. And what do you do in that off time? Any sports or family time or?
Oh, look, it's generally something around family time. Kids are normally stage of life they're at the moment. They're quite busy with their own sports, so it's generally something with them, sport related, in the weekends.
How old are your kids?
14, 17 and 19.
Oh, yeah. I've got 2 boys, 5 and 8. So Saturday is just
that's it, eh?
Swimming, soccer, water polo.
Full on for the kids, all right? Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, outside of that, if we do have time, we'll be out on the water. Downsides from boats at the moment, I'm down to a jet ski, so we'll get out on that. There's a big dam where we can go and do water sports not far from where we live, so
awesome.
Get the kids out into that, or camping would be another one. Yeah.
Magic. How do you find juggling because you've got 3 businesses?
Yeah, yep.
That's a lot to juggle. I guess what was the order in which you did them in, and how do you find juggling them? Because you've got lots going on.
Well, I guess, we had to prioritise and spend our time wisely to where we make our money, I guess, and that sort of came back to the building business. So we set up and established the furniture and homewares business that we thought would sit alongside the building pretty nicely. And my office is now based in the furniture and homewares store, and that does help. And we've actually won quite a few jobs with people initially coming into the homewares store. And my wife was based in the store, and that was her thing she used to look after and run. And we were hoping that we were going to get interior design, styling work from it, and obviously sell a lot of homewares to new clients that we build for. That side of it's been a little bit slow. It's still good to make you look like a bigger picture out there to people, but that side's been a little bit slow. Like, it's sort of hard to get that extra upsell in home furnishings after you've spent a lot on the build. But I mean, it's something we're working on, and that's there as part of the building company. So our main focus is predominantly, definitely in the building side of things. That's what generates pretty much our money side of things. But with the mobile cabin hire business, we manufacture and build and own those ourselves, and they don't take a lot of work. They go out on hire and some of them will never come back. So and they go out for a minimum of a 3-month hire as well. They've been good for the building as well. Quite often people have hired them when we do major renovation jobs, because we've got some self-contained cabins. So they're a mobile cabin on wheels, so they're a little room on wheels. So the self-contained ones, I've had quite a few clients that actually hire them from us as well during the build, so they can still live on site.
Right.
So that sort of works alongside the building business. Otherwise, they just go out on hire, and I get them back in 3 months, or some people have had them for up to 5 years. So that's a good little earner there, because there's not a lot of work involved. We get paid for the physical side of the deliveries and what have you. That's a separate fee, and then they're just a weekly hire, and they don't cost a hell of a lot to manufacture, and it's a good little sideline gig.
100%. And where do you want to take your business? Where do you want to grow it to, the building side of things?
Yeah, look, we were just I was just thinking about this recently, and I do want to try and move more towards custom new homes rather than the bigger renovation projects. I just see that they're a lot, straightforward and easier construction and easier to manage. Just because you haven't got that full-on dealings with the clients, I find living in your reno project, it's certainly
For sure.
there's a lot more headache there. But I would like to build the building business up to like a $3 million a year turnover with only doing sort of 5 or 6 custom new builds.
Perfect.
That would be really easy for me to manage, and then I can focus on my other stuff I want to do.
Awesome.
I'd like to get it to that stage first, and obviously then reassess and see where we go from there. But if I could get it to that sort of turnover with only doing sort of 5 or 6 major jobs a year, I could manage that pretty easily, and I'd be happy with that.
What do you think getting there? What's the next part of the jigsaw to
Probably changing our marketing a little bit, and just specifically marketing hard towards that sort of custom home builder
100%
market. Yeah, it's all got to start with the marketing, I reckon.
100%.
So we're marketing in the reno market as well at the moment. I think I'm going to change that and just focus and get really drilled in on our ideal client.
We can help you with that, Tony. We've got hundreds of members that have transitioned or done both those, particularly for the custom home builds. So
I appreciate that. And something that would help, and we've had it and we've used this in the past, where we've always had I wouldn't call it a display home, but our home where we live, like our own personal home, we've opened that up for a display home when we've needed to. And we're actually doing a small subdivision at the moment in a good part of town. And we're actually going to look at building a new home for ourselves, because since we've been in Cairns, we actually haven't had that. I was just thinking back to the past, when we used to, it was quite a good sales tool to actually be able to take someone and walk them through your work. At the moment, we use clients' work to take people to. But, just to have our own place would make it a bit easier. So that's something we're really focused on, getting the subdivision finished that we're working on at the moment. And next year we'll build a new home.
Yeah, book in a coaching session for 2 to 3 weeks' time when you're free.
Yep.
And we will solely run through your existing marketing and what we need to do to transition it to target those, getting those 5 to 6 new builds. And we'll take you through some proven campaigns that are working well for other members, and we'll just have a look at your landing page, marketing.
Perfect.
Etc.
Because it doesn't sound hard, does it? When you break that down to 5, you only got to win 5 or 6 new builds. It does sound easy.
Yeah. So, what's your conversion rate at the moment? How many would you land at?
Look, something I'm working on, to be honest. I might only be converting. It depends on the type of leads. If it's a really good pre-qualified lead, I guess the conversion rate's a lot higher. But I probably am in that situation at the moment where I'm looking at and quoting too many jobs. I want to break that right back and spend a lot more time in the pre-qualifying stage. But look, I know we're probably 20, 25%.
Okay. So you only need like 20 leads during the year, 24 leads.
Yeah.
At the ideal sort of 500K mark. That's only 2 a month.
Yeah. Yep. But when you always break it back like that, it seems so easy, doesn't it, and achievable. So,
well, yeah, marketing is maths. If we know the numbers, we work backwards, and then we just work on the biggest lever, whether it's the average dollar sale inquiries that you're getting, the number of leads, or your conversion rate. And then we've got all those strategies that we can do to improve. If it's the conversion rate, great. Let's work on the script. Let's work on the info pack. Let's work on your guarantee and your testimonial.
That's right.
And when it becomes really easy, we just improve one area, get that working well, and then go to the next leader that's going to make the biggest difference.
Definitely.
Awesome. We'll book that in, my man. It's been fantastic talking to you today. And dude, I think we can knock this out of the park comfortably.
Thanks, Marty, and thanks to TPB, and appreciate all your help.
All right, my man. I appreciate your time, Tony. It's great hearing about your success, and look forward to talking to you in a few weeks.
Thanks, Marty. Appreciate it. See ya.
See ya.